If when my wife is sleeping, and the baby and Kathleen are sleeping, and the sun is a flame-white disk in silken mist above shining trees, if I in my north room dance naked, grotesquely before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, lonely. I was born to be lonely. I am best so. If I admire my arms, my shoulders, my face, my flanks, my buttocks against the yellow-drawn shades, who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? This is a poem that, first of all, is by William Carlos Williams. And it seems to me the quintessential expression of joy. It is a poem that you get a sense of the meaning of his solitude, the communion with solitude, but also that extraordinary awareness that he's in his own home, his family is asleep, and his own dynamics are being energized by his dance. But I think what's equally interesting is it isn't really a dance. It's if when. So it's all on a dare. And he gives to the reader the opportunity to say, we need you to dance, or you've danced, or it seems as if you've danced. And that place between words as action, words as choreography, and words as immediate meditative expression is one of the inspirations that I want to convey at the outset of every class I teach. And it's usually worked as a loosener, both for myself when you get tense, as I am a little bit now, and the students, who they feel welcomed, they feel engaged by it. In fact, it's got as much joy and energy in it as anything I've ever read. And I suppose much of my life, that poem has been a kind of model. It's been to me as Van Gogh's paintings have been, his Night Cafe, for instance, to my father's work. I mean, it is one of the most important events of my life, that poem. And I get to reenact it.
All right. Boom's clear, right? Yep. Well, are you gonna shut up? Let's see if it seems like it should. Let's see.
So the idea was to strike this and for each person to empty their heads of brain chatter and to get themselves into a state where they could listen to one another. So one of the things you want to listen for is how the poet modulates from one key to another, and how the word choices bring about shifts in tone. That is attitude toward the subject matter, mostly related by sound and word choice, rather than anything else, rather than any kind of argument, for instance. After making love, we hear footsteps. For I can snore like a bullhorn, or play loud music, or sit up talking with any reasonably sober Irishman, and Fergus will only sink deeper into his dreamless sleep, which goes by all in one flash. But let there be that heavy breathing, or a stifled come-cry anywhere in the house, and he will wrench himself awake and make for it on the run, as now we lie together after making love, quiet, touching along the length of our bodies, familiar touch of the long married, and he appears in his baseball pajamas, it happens. The neck opening so small he has to screw them on, which one day may make him wonder about the mental capacity of baseball players, and flops down between us and hugs us and snuggles himself asleep, his face gleaming with satisfaction at being this very child. In the half-darkness we look at each other and smile and touch arms across his little, startlingly muscled body. This one whom habit of memory propels to the ground of his making. Sleeper, only the mortal sounds can keep awake. This blessing, love gives again into our arms.
I feel like although it is in that jokey term, there's still subtle liquids, which are sexy. So it's like, for I can snore like a bullhorn. So it's sort of foreshadowing through sound.
Getting ready for the lyrical.
I see it coming.
Yeah. But I think Amy's right that those L's are there. And they're working through really very buffoonish sounds. But there's also the serious sense of or that Harry's talking, that you hear in snore and bullhorn, and then sober, so everything's kind of going while the L's are caressing you or drawing you on. Okay, a line that seems to be tonally shifting, and I'm really always asking, how is the poem getting on with itself? What new dimensions are given to you in diction and tone? And Fergus will only sink deeper. You want to say something about that, Brent?
Well, I kind of feel like the beginning of the poem, especially like with the hard sounds, the oars and like the horn and loud and sounds like that, they kind of slow the poem. Like once you read the title, you're kind of prepared to feel something romantic, or whatever. But then after you read further on, it's like it makes you slow down and really pay attention to everything that's being set up and stuff like that. And it's a little bit comedic also. It's like you said, it's kind of like chummy. It's kind of like it's funny, but it wants you to slow down and just pay attention to what I'm saying.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And usually when a comic is presenting, doing his thing, his shtick, he's out to create a certain amount of suspense, or a storyteller, and there's this part of you that says, come on, come to the point, give me the punchline, give me the punchline. You're saying there's already something counteracted to that, and that it's musically slowing down as it's kind of enticing you to be entertained. Well, I didn't know what I could do. I was an athlete. I was a runner and played some football, but I was a terrible student. Second from the bottom of my class, probably a D+ average, maybe C-. Only Tom Holloman was worse. School was so boring, our teachers were so bad. I know in retrospect that was the case. I would have loved it had I had real teachers and had it been a real place, but it wasn't. Maybe that's a cop-out statement. And so I had no idea what I'd do, what I could. I had a good body, and I was a very fast runner. That's all I knew. And I worked in my father's bakery, and I got married young. And I simply took a creative writing class at San Francisco State. First one was fiction with Mark Harris, and then got into poetry. And it pretty much happened in one day, one weekend. On Friday, I guess, or Thursday maybe, I came across Whose Woods These Are, I Think I Know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the lake and frozen woods, the darkest evening of the year. He stops to give his harness bells a shake and ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound's the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. See, you got to say it just right so it doesn't sound the same. Anyway, that bowled me over. I mean, you know, here I was, 190-pound fullback, reading poetry, this effeminate stuff. You know, and in those days, we were pretty conscious of that. You know, art was associated with effeminacy. Even then, it was just, we live in a very archaic time. The 50s is archaic. And that poem had an atmosphere, had a world, had a texture, had a mood, had everything I wanted. I didn't understand what it was, but I loved it. I loved the music right away. That weekend, I went with my girlfriend, June Eby, and we went to Point Reyes, this beach, beautiful beach. And I saw a seal right beneath our towel, lying on the beach, dead. And I just heard these lines. The seal would dive, casting splinters of foam, down, submerged, enjoying the flow of his glide. And that was it. That was the first poetry, I guess, that came through me. And it came out of nowhere with no background at all. Well, it started in Ireland, and I heard that braying sound, and it seemed to me the perfect sound of eccentricity. Ha 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 ha! She won't do it, I'll do it for you. And so I got nostalgic for Greece and Ireland, and I heard that they were selling these Sicilian donkeys down in South Carolina, and my little daughter and I drove in that blue station wagon over there down to South Carolina, and we got the first one, whose name was Don Quixote, and put this little guy in the back of that station wagon, drove along I-95, and people with cameras like yours were going nuts trying to understand what was going along the highway. We went through a McDonald's drive-through, and I said, "Water for the little one in the back," and the people said, "What?" So I just got the ultimate weird creature. That's been part of it. Plus, they're really affectionate. I mean, they come in for hugs and nuzzlings all the time. Okay, girls, we're on our way. Come on. Now they're going to do classic balkings, which they never do. Come on. Hold on, hold on there. Come on, Gracie May. Come on, outdoors. We get to go through the gate. Come on, Gracie. You don't have to resist me. This is Gracie May's first time walking, doing a donk walk into town. Her sister is very experienced, Flocko. Come on, Gracie, come on. Flock, you can come. Come on. Follow your sister, Gracie. Come on, Grace. Hey, why are you doing this? Do you know why? This is better. Now you're trained. Hey! Ho, ho! What are you doing? You're doing show. This is the Mattaponi River, and it's a tidal river, and we're now at high tide, pretty close to it. Lucky. Lock! Stop it! Don't you want to go further than you've ever gone before? Don't you feel ambitious? Flocker, teach her the way. Teach her the path. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Okay, I think the girls need to go back home. They're just wilder than ever. I mean, maybe it's because Flacco isn't getting her huge attention. Because normally we just peacefully go hut-da-da-ta, hut-da-da-ta. But neither of them are peaceful, and they do parodies. Flacco taught her how to be a wild donk, or maybe it's the other way around. So they do fake kickings and fake balkings, like they've read comic books about, and they both do it. Or they go ass to ass, and they do like sit-ins. I want nothing to do with you. Well, that was some kind of exhibition. What did you exhibit? What did you exhibit? Why did you act like a donkey? You're just a little bunny. Oh, Flocky. Gracie May, come on over here. Come on over here now. I told you to get over here. They like it when I speak Southern.
The guy's definitely got kind of a legacy to his name. I mean, my friend has taken him before, and like we were comparing classes that we've taken, and she was like, "Oh, you get Sange? Awesome! He's gonna be like the coolest guy ever. Yeah. You get to meditate." And then I had other people who were just like, "He's gonna make you meditate every class. Yeah. He's gonna make your ears bleed." But no, I love it. It's great.
On Rate My Professors, I use that to choose on my professors, and he's like startlingly mixed reviews, and they were all like, I don't know, meditation doesn't sound so bad. It could be worse. Yeah. Then I took the class and I was like, these people are so frigid. If you can't just sit down and enjoy 20 minutes of silence.
Yeah, even if it makes you feel awkward, you could at least take a nap.
He's a very polarizing figure.
He is. You can tell because tonight was one of the first nights we've ever seen like, full attendance in the class ever. Yeah, I know. And it's because some people, I feel they just are like, this class isn't important at all. And I feel a lot of people think that way.
The class I had with him before was actually smaller than this. And
really?
That's where we wrote like our own poetry. And so we actually like made a tight circle, like he was part of it, and we had a prompt before each class, and we would come in with something and read it. And so that was really cool, because that was a good way for like him to get to know us personally, because when you're writing, you're obviously going to come off of your own experience. So it was cool to, I guess, have that class.
I feel like at the same time,
a tight-knit group, and then he definitely like promotes that, you know, like with the sitting in the circle and everything. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I was just saying, I mean, like as a group, I feel like we really have shared a lot with each other. As stupid or immature as that sounds, like just hearing what other people's takes on certain parts of poems are, like that can give you a whole new perspective on where that person's coming from.
Out the door, out the door. Roll your way down that hall, get some water.
Did you get that?
You guys didn't get
Oh
that.
God.
Did you? What the hell?
Come on! The best ending to
There he goes.
I visit my poems. I have a little herd. I have like 4 or 5 going. There's the principal poem. There's one next to it called The Sprinter. There's one here called Race to the Finish. Another one called Ikoyenia, which is the Greek word for family. And what I do is I move among them and work on only one so long as it's fun. I don't believe in art being struggle. I will come back and back to something, but each time I want to freshly come back. And I usually quit when it's going well. Not always. Sometimes I polish it in the ground. But it is connected to the running in this sense. Sentence energy and breath stations, the physical aspects of a poem, are really important to me, whether I'm reading somebody or writing my own. And so I will take a poem out on the road and mutter it to myself. And usually I don't have to memorize it, but you work on something, say, for 3 or 4 days, several hours a day, and after a while it's pretty much in your head. And they have found me in ditches. Sometimes I can't say the poem to myself while I'm running anymore. I just want to do some real writing, so I bring in my shorts, some paper and a pen. Sometimes I just run with my pen along the road. And I lay down in culverts, and I like to find leafy ditches where I can do some good creative writing. But it's the rhythm, the running rhythm, that's so reassuring to me, that's anesthetizing, that keeps struggle out of what I do. Literally, my runner's high is something that often allows the poem to change in ways that are more natural than if I'm just hovering over the screen and wanting it to get it right. One of the framed newspapers of the San Francisco Examiner of September 19th, 1938, where my dad went kind of nuts, and he went and he got a dozen of them, and he put these banner headlines across the front. It's a boy named Gary Sange, weight 7 pounds 6 ounces, arrived September 19th, 4:12 a.m., will be known as the Montclair Baby Strong Boy, challenges Max Baer Jr. to box 2 rounds, winner takes all. He was obsessed with boxing. There was Yiddish, and then there was Tommy Ease, and he would make up his own quasi-Yiddish, Polish, German, Russian, whatever they were, Tommy, Sange sounds. In a word, it's ZJUGE. Whether I choose to have it or not, apparently I do. Joy, power, enthusiasm, need to cut loose and celebrate. That's all that running is about, really. Chance to dance over the road. It's very powerful. It's ongoing, powerful influence. I'm glad to be his son. I feel like all the marathon training has in a way been in training for old age, a deepening of old age. And, you know, if things hold, it isn't just holding though, and I think that's the fascinating thing about it, is that there is for some of us a letting go. And so it's not holding or holding on. It's seeing what more there is to become that you hadn't really foreseen. Doing things perhaps for the first time in my life. I take away the perhaps, I know I am, just for their own sake. Teaching just for the sheer pleasure of it. Wanting to do as many new things and doing a lot of new things each week. And the whole question is whether you're going anywhere, and then you come here and you don't need to go anywhere, and yet there's the vague sense that that is a destination. You know, that it has an end, and therefore it's a destination. But it's all beautiful everywhere you look. My 70 years gone like that, chock full. A week is full, a day is full, it's still very full. But to say, I'd be lucky to live another 10 years. That's 80 years old. Anyone would be. Do I want to live more? I can't think in those terms. I think I want to know now and now and now. I've nabbed a mansion, the Scott House, VCU's mansion. And there will be students, poets whom I've had a chance to share the writing, growing poet growing experience of being writers. My students for 41 years, going back to the first class in 1967.
Hi.
To the poster, you know, put Gary's eyes at the horizon line, everybody else is at a, you know, perspective there. Tape it to a column. That's right. And you go.
As everyone probably knows too much, I'm a donkey freak. And I have a new baby. You're going to be taking care of a baby Gracie May. She's 9 months old. And the old one is Flocko. And I guess it was about a year ago, Flocko would get down on her knees. I just call it this kind of cameling motion, you know, where they get like this, just like this. And on a day like today, she was just real dozy, like this. And I just went over to her and very gently just crept into the yard and just pushed her over. She rolls over in her back and goes like this. I started rubbing her belly, and you'll hear the rest. Bliss. So long as she's dazed and cameling in the heat, my donkey lets me tip her slowly over until, like a spellbound boulder, less likely mermaid, lapsed manatee, she remains wobbly and balanced on her back, all legs straying in the air, lets me hug the warm fuzzed infant of her belly, rub and rub it until her lashes flicker shut, rub her belly until she snickers, rub her belly until she hums.